Getting into Australia is the easy part. Surviving after you arrive is the real shock. You saved $15,000. Got your visa approved. Flew 22 hours. You think the hard part's over. It's not. But wait. Before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment I subscribe below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. Most migrants believe arrival equals success. Visa approval feels like winning the lottery. Australia's immigration system sells accessibility. 195,000 permanent visas granted in 2024 to 25 alone. The skilled migration pathway looks straightforward on paper. Clear points system, transparent requirements, processing times published online. Online forums show success stories. Photos of permanent residency grants. Celebration posts about landing dream jobs. Migration agents emphasize the points test, how to maximize your score, which qualifications get you over the line. They don't talk about survival reality. Government websites list job opportunities by sector. Skills shortage lists make it seem like employers are waiting for you. You're handed a visa, not a roadmap for what comes after landing. Your family back home celebrates. They think you've made it. Friends are jealous. You're going to Australia. You arrive believing the hardest test is behind you. The system gets you in, but it doesn't prepare you for what happens next. Here's where it breaks down. You land at Sydney Airport. Excitement mixed with exhaustion. 22 hours of travel. Immigration check takes 40 minutes. You collect your luggage, walk through customs, step into arrivals. Your new life starts now. First night, backpacker hostel in the CBD. $95. Shared bathroom. Luggage shoved under a bunk bed. You're too tired to care. Day 2, apartment hunting begins. You open domain, realestate.com.au. Start scrolling through listings. Median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Sydney is $620 per week. That's $2,680 per month. Melbourne is $520 per week, $2,250 monthly. Brisbane $580 per week, $2,510 monthly. Every single listing requires the same documents: ID, visa paperwork, employment letter, payslips, rental references. You have your passport and visa. You have none of the other three. You book viewings anyway. Show up to an apartment in Parramatta. 40-plus people crammed into a small 2-bedroom unit. The real estate agent asks everyone to form a line. People are handing over application folders, printed documents, references, 6 months of bank statements. The agent looks at you. Where do you work? I just arrived. I'm starting job applications this week. She nods politely. Hands you an application form anyway. You both know you're not getting this place. You attend 8 more viewings that week. Same story. Bond plus 2 weeks rent in advance equals $1,860 upfront in Sydney. But even with that money ready, you need proof of income. 4 to 6 weeks of payslips before most landlords will even consider your application. But you can't get payslips without an Australian address for employment paperwork. The catch-22 begins immediately. Week 1 temporary accommodation costs you $665 to $840. Week 2, still searching. Applications rejected twice. Another $665 to $840 gone. Week 3, 6 rejections total now, frustration building. Week 4, desperation sets in. You're browsing flatmates.com.au, considering shared houses with complete strangers. 4 weeks of temporary accommodation, $2,660 to $3,360 total. Plus the $1,860 you'll eventually need to move in somewhere. First month cost before your regular rent even starts. $4,520 to $5,220. Your $15,000 is now $9,780 to $10,480. And that's just housing. This is the part nobody plans for. You need food. Grocery shopping in Australia is a shock. Coles and Woolworths control 65% of the market. Limited competition means limited price pressure. You walk through Coles with a basket. Milk, $3.80 for 2 liters. Bread, $4.50. Chicken breast, $14 per kilogram. Vegetables, $4 to $8 per kilo depending on what's in season. A week's worth of basic groceries for one person, $180 to $220. You calculate monthly, $720 to $880 minimum. And that's cooking every meal at home. Eating out once costs $18 to $25 for a basic meal. You stop considering it. Phone plan needed immediately. Can't apply for jobs without Australian number. $40 to $70 per month for decent data. Electricity connection requires a $150 to $200 setup fee in some states. Quarterly electricity bill will be $250 to $400 depending on your usage. Internet for stable connection needed for endless job applications, $70 to $90 per month. Then there's transport. No car means limited job access. Most positions outside the inner city require reliable transport. Public transport monthly pass costs $150 to $200 in major cities. But job listings keep saying must have owned vehicle. So you start looking at used cars. Reliable vehicle that won't break down constantly, $8,000 to $15,000. Insurance for a new driver in Australia, $2,400 annually. That's $200 per month. Registration, $800 to $1,000 per year depending on which state you're in. Fuel if you're commuting, $80 to $100 per week, which is $320 to $400 monthly. Car servicing every 6 months, $200 to $400. And if something mechanical goes wrong, and it will, that's $500 to $2,000 depending on the problem. Then there's healthcare. Medicare waiting period, 6 to 12 months before you're covered for subsidized healthcare. Private health insurance required during that time, $80 to $150 monthly. Doctor visit without Medicare costs $80 to $120. Prescriptions without the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, $40 to $90 each. Emergency dental work, $200 to $400 for basic treatment. Month 2 totals, rent $2,680, food $800, phone $60, utilities $120, public transport $180, health insurance $100. That's $3,940. Your remaining $9,780 becomes $5,840. Month 3, same expenses repeat. You're down to $1,900. You haven't bought proper winter clothes yet. Haven't had any social life. Haven't had a single emergency. And you still don't have a career-level job. And that's just the beginning. Australian employers want local experience. That phrase kills your applications before they're even read. Your overseas qualifications need formal assessment. Engineers Australia charges $750 to $1,200. Takes 8 to 12 weeks to process. CPA Australia for accountants, $1,200 to $1,500. Processing time 10 to 16 weeks. Teaching registration costs $500 to $800 and requires police checks from your home country that take months to obtain. Medical registration through AHPRA, $1,800 to $3,500, can take 6 to 12 months. While you're waiting for those assessments, you need income immediately. Casual hospitality jobs pay $28 to $32 per hour base rate. Retail pays $25 to $30. Warehouse work pays $28 to $33. After tax, because you've already used up your tax-free threshold on the first job you took, you're taking home about $23 per hour. Work 38 hours per week. That's $874 weekly. $3,496 per month. Minus rent at $2,680. You have $816 left for everything else. That's $27 per day for food, transport, phone, insurance, utilities, any hope of savings. It's impossible to build financial security. You start the job search for a career-level role. LinkedIn Premium costs $50 monthly so you can see who's viewing your profile. You update your resume to Australian format, different from US, UK, and European styles. First month, you send 40 to 80 applications. Response rate, 5 to 8%. Interview rate, 1 to 2% of total applications. The rejection emails have a pattern. We are looking for someone with local experience. That becomes the default. Translation: we don't trust your overseas credentials. Your skills assessment certificate doesn't overcome this bias. You try recruitment agencies. They sound enthusiastic on the first call. Great background. We'll definitely be in touch. Then silence. We'll be in touch means never. Entry-level roles want 2 to 3 years of Australian experience. Mid-level roles want 5+ years. Your 8 years of overseas experience gets treated as equivalent to maybe 2 years here, at best. Month 4, you've sent 160 applications total. 3 interviews. 0 offers. Your engineering degree becomes Amazon warehouse night shifts. Your accounting background becomes cafe all-rounder. Your teaching qualification becomes private tutoring for $35 an hour with no guaranteed hours. Your IT project management experience becomes help desk contractor work. 73% of skilled migrants report underemployment in their first 2 years. You're now part of that statistic. Average time to get a career-level role, 18 months. Some people take 3 years. Some never return to their field. Financially, they can't afford to keep trying. Meanwhile, the bills don't stop. Your credit card starts getting used for emergencies. $1,000 limit becomes $1,500 used. Interest rate, 19 to 22% annually. The minimum payment trap begins. Here's where the isolation hits. Month 3. Isolation becomes crushing in ways you didn't anticipate. You left your entire support network behind. No family to borrow $500 from when there's a gap between pay cycles. No friends to stay with during the rental crisis. No cosigner who can help with lease applications. No one to call when your car breaks down at 10 p.m. Every single problem requires a paid solution. Tow truck, $150 to $300. Locksmith if you're locked out, $180 to $250. Emergency plumber for a burst pipe, $200 to $400 call-out fee. Back home, you'd call a friend. Here, you call a service and pay. Social isolation hits differently than you expected. Australians are friendly. Surface-level friendly. How you going doesn't actually mean tell me how you actually doing. It's a greeting, not an invitation to share. Coffee chats with coworkers don't evolve into friendships. Work colleagues are pleasant, not personal. You get invited to Friday drinks once, maybe twice. But when you decline because you can't afford $60 on alcohol, the invitations stop coming. Everyone here already has established friend groups. School friends, university friends, early career friends. Breaking into those circles as a 28 to 35-year-old migrant is nearly impossible. You try meetup groups. They feel transactional. Everyone's there to network or practice English, not form deep connections. Other migrants are struggling too. None of you can meaningfully support each other. Dating as a migrant means explaining your situation. I'm a software engineer, but currently doing Uber Eats delivery doesn't inspire confidence in potential partners. Mental health starts deteriorating around month 4 or 5. Sleep gets disrupted. Appetite changes. Motivation crashes. You need therapy. Psychologist without Medicare, $180 to $280 per session. Psychiatrist without Medicare, $350 to $500 per session. Bulk billing services that are free have 6 to 8 week wait lists, if they are even accepting new patients. You have a mental health crisis one night. Anxiety attack. Can't breathe. Terrified. You sit in an emergency department for 4 to 6 hours. They assess you, provide crisis contact numbers, send you home. No ongoing support unless you're paying privately. Online therapy is cheaper but still $100 to $150 per session. You can't afford it. YouTube meditation videos become your therapist. Reddit migration forums become your support group. Anonymous strangers online understand your situation better than anyone in your physical proximity. Calling family back home makes things worse. They don't understand why you're struggling. But you in Australia, you made it. They say it with pride and confusion. You can't explain the reality without sounding like a failure. Can't ask for money without admitting you're drowning. Pride keeps you isolated. Shame prevents honesty. Month 6. You realize you've had meaningful conversations with exactly 3 people in the past 8 weeks. All three were service workers who were required by their job to be polite to you. Loneliness becomes physical. Chest feels tight. Head foggy. Body heavy. This is the part nobody warns you about. Step back and look at the pattern here. Australia's migration system is economically optimized. Skilled migration fills labor shortages. It doesn't create opportunity for migrants. Labor shortage is code. Translation: Australians won't do this job at this wage. You imported to do the jobs locals rejected. Aged care is desperate for workers. Pays $28 to $32 per hour. Hospitality has chronic shortages. Pays $25 to $30 per hour. Agriculture can't find fruit pickers. Pays piece rates that often fall below minimum wage. Legally problematic but extremely common. Construction needs laborious. Pays $30 to $35 per hour. These aren't the skilled migration jobs advertised. But skilled migrants end up doing them anyway. Because survival overrides career goals. The skills shortage is actually a wage shortage. If these jobs paid $50 to $60 per hour, Australians would do them. Instead, the system imports migrants who'll accept $28 per hour because it's still better than wages in their home country. Regional visa programs, the 491 and 494 visas, incentivize moving to rural and regional areas. The promise: lower cost of living, easier pathway to permanent residency. The reality: jobs in regional areas are hospitality, agriculture, retail. Not engineering, not IT, not finance. And regional rent is now 70 to 80% of metro rent anyway. The cost advantage has disappeared. Internet is worse. Transport is non-existent without a car. Social isolation is multiplied by 10. 34% of 491 visa holders leave within 2 years, despite visa conditions that penalize them for it. The visa condition requires 3 years of regional work. Breaking that means visa cancellation. So people stay trapped in towns with no career future, legally unable to leave. System retention statistics look great on paper. Reality: migrants locked in by legal requirements, not opportunity. Partner visa processing takes 2 to 3 years as standard wait time. You can't leave Australia during processing without withdrawing your application entirely. You can't work full-time in many cases without separate work rights approval. The relationship strain is immense. Financial pressure, visa uncertainty, social isolation, all combined. 15 to 20% of partner visa relationships end during the processing period. Then there's the student visa pathway, the biggest bait-and-switch in the system. International students pay $30,000 to $45,000 per year in tuition, subsidizing domestic students who pay $6,000 to $8,000 annually. They are sold a dream: graduate, get post-study work visa, find employer sponsorship, obtain permanent residency. The reality: post-study work visa gets granted. Then 85% of graduates can't find employer sponsorship. Employers prefer citizens. No visa expiry to manage. No sponsorship costs, which run $5,000 to $10,000 per employee. No uncertainty about whether the visa will be approved. Students work hospitality and retail jobs throughout their studies to survive. They graduate with their degrees and $80,000 to $150,000 in debt to overseas education loans. Can't find career work. Post-study visa expires. Options: return home with massive debt and no career advancement, or stay on bridging visas doing casual work hoping for miracle sponsorship that statistically won't come. Australian universities profited $9.3 billion from international students in 2023 alone. Student accommodation companies profit. Temporary work visa holders fill casual job gaps at lower wages. Then most of them leave. No permanent residency, no career outcome achieved. The system extracts maximum economic value, provides minimum support, then blames individuals for not trying hard enough when they struggle or leave. Month 6 lived experience. Credit card limit increased to $2,500. Current balance, $2,400. Month 9, you're seriously researching flights home. The calculation becomes stark. Stay and struggle indefinitely, or leave and restart. Leaving feels like public failure. Everyone back home knows you went to Australia. Coming back means explaining why it didn't work. Family will say we told you it was risky. Friends will pity you. Your social media shows curated success. Photos at Bondi Beach, Sydney Opera House, weekend brunches. Behind the photos, shared room in Parramatta. 45-hour work weeks between 2 casual jobs. Declining mental health. Medication you can't afford. Month 12. You finally get a career-level interview. 3 rounds of interviews. Skills test. You pass easily. Culture fit interview. Goes well. You laugh at the right moments. Ask good questions. Final round. You're told there are 2 candidates left. You and 1 internal referral. The decision email arrives. We've decided to go with an internal candidate. Translation. Someone already embedded in the system. Someone with Australian workplace references. Someone without visa complications. You weren't really being considered. This was diversity optics. Something breaks inside you. Some migrants do make it through. Network built through relentless persistence. Career found after 18 to 24 months of grinding. Permanent residency granted. Financial stability finally achieved. They look back years later and call it worth it. But the statistics don't count who left. 28% of skilled migrants leave Australia within 5 years. Not because they failed, because the cost of succeeding was too high. What's not tracked? Mental health casualties. What's not measured? Years of career regression. What's not calculated? Financial opportunity cost. Staying means starting over. Burning savings. Accepting lower status. Enduring isolation. If you'd stayed in your home country, you might have seen your role by now, property ownership, family proximity, established social capital. Leaving means sacrificing all of that. Gambling years of your life. Those who stay often sacrifice their career ceiling for visa stability. I'm an Uber driver with a master's degree in computer science. You hear this exact sentence repeated in migrant communities. I was a senior structural engineer. Now I do warehouse work. Pride swallowed daily. Skills atrophying. Professional networks never built. Permanent residency achieved, but at what cost? Meanwhile, Australia celebrates its migration success. Politicians quote employment statistics. 95% of skilled migrants are employed within 2 years. They don't mention employed doing what? At what level? With what well-being outcomes? News outlets interview the thriving migrants. The doctor who now works at a major Sydney hospital. The entrepreneur who started a successful cafe business. They don't interview the thousands doing survival work. Struggling silently. Medicated for depression. Financially trapped. Success bias creates a false narrative. The government needs migration to continue. The economic model depends on it. They can't admit the system is extraction-based. Must maintain the land of opportunity image. Migration agents keep selling the dream. They profit from visa application fees. Universities keep recruiting international students. They profit from tuition. Employers keep requesting skilled migrant workers. They profit from wage suppression. Nobody in the system has an incentive to tell the truth. Here's what they don't include in your visa approval letter. Getting to Australia is an administrative process. Forms, fees, waiting periods. Surviving Australia is psychological warfare. The system needs you underprepared. Underprepared migrants accept worse conditions. You fill labor gaps Australians won't fill at current wage levels. You drive down wage expectations across entire industries. You inject capital into the economy during your settlement struggle. Rent paid to landlords, many of them negatively geared investors who need tenants to cover mortgages. Groceries bought from the Coles Woolworths duopoly. Transport costs paid, fuel, registration, insurance, public transport fares. Services consumed, telecommunications, utilities, healthcare. The temporary accommodation sector profits from your month of searching. The education sector profits from your qualifications assessment. Recruitment agencies profit from your endless applications. Migration agents profit from your visa fees. Meanwhile, you burn through your savings, your health, your mental well-being. If you succeed and stay, you've proven the system works. If you leave, another visa grant replaces you immediately. The cycle continues. 195,000 new grants annually. Constant fresh supply of hopeful people. Each one brings $10,000 to $30,000 in savings. Each spends it trying to establish themselves. Each either assimilates into lower status work or eventually leaves. Either outcome serves the economic model. This isn't conspiracy. This is design. Migration policy is written by economists, not humanitarians. Labor market impacts analyzed, not migrant well-being. GDP contribution is measured, not psychological cost. The system is working exactly as intended. So here's the question nobody asks in the visa application process. Not do you have the skills Australia needs. Not do you meet the points threshold. The real question is this. If surviving the first 2 years in Australia requires financial reserves most migrants don't have, career sacrifices most didn't expect, social isolation most can't endure, and mental health resilience most don't possess, and the system knows this, has years of data on this, and continues operating this way anyway, who is this migration system actually designed for? Not you.